Hey everybody, welcome back to We Are Podcast.
This is We Are Bagu Season 2, Episode 5, Super Mario Brothers.
If this is your first time checking out the podcast network, please head over to your favorite podcast app, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, or iTunes, and give We Are Podcast Network a like. And if you get a chance, head over to our social media. All links can be found in the description. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at /We Are Podcast. And with that said, on to the podcast.
We are Bagu.
Hey everybody, welcome to We Are Bagu, a video game podcast. We talk Atari, Steam, and everything in between. This is Duck, and I am here with...
the Reverend, not so Dr. Ethan Eastwood.
The Reverend, not so Doctor.
Definitely Reverend, not quite a Dr. Ethan Eastwood.
What a title. And Dr. Reverend, not so Dr. Eastwood. What are we talking about today?
Apparently, we're talking about Super Mario Brothers.
Yes, the original 1985 release of the game came out for the Nintendo Entertainment System in America November of that year, and that is highly debatable. They don't know exactly when the game came out, but they know it was either between October and November because it was not released as a launch title for the system. It came out afterwards.
How do they not know when it exactly released? That sounds like something that Nintendo would just go, oh yeah, we published it on this day.
Oddly, the paperwork has been lost, and that's why. Isn't that weird?
That's horse shit.
Yeah.
That's bullshit.
So, the Nintendo Classic, this game sold over 50 million copies worldwide. Now, everyone and their mother literally has played Super Mario Brothers for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Ethan, when was your first time playing this game?
Oh, God. I want to say it was probably the arcade cabinet version, versus Super Mario Brothers. And then after that, I want to say I played the NES version, the original. And then I actually did have the Super Mario Brothers Deluxe, the Game Boy Color cartridge that you were playing on Twitch earlier. I did have that for the longest time, but I've played this game a billion times over. The Classic, the cabinet, the Game Boy cartridge, the fan remix, like it's a game that if you haven't played it by now, what the fuck are you doing?
Where you been hiding? Like literally, it's pretty much the definition of video game. You know what I mean? When I think about a video game, it begins with World 1, stage 1 of that game.
It's iconic. It is the great granddaddy of platform gaming.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you for making me feel so old. I always feel like it's a new game because I was there when it came out. The game is as old as me, 1985. I'm a little bit older just by a smidgen. But the first time I saw Super Mario Brothers, my father brought home a Nintendo Entertainment System. And he sat it down and he's like, y'all are going to play this. Now, this is the first time I saw this game. The first game I ever actually played for the Nintendo Entertainment System was Super Mario Brothers 2, which begins my obsession with the game. But this game, he brought it home. He set up the Nintendo Entertainment System. And it was me and my brothers, Matt and Mike, my cousin DJ, and his little brother Josh. And Josh was the baby of the group. And we were all clamoring around. We're drooling. We're looking at it with our 3 to 4 year old eyes, like we're just babies. And we all want to play this game. And they're like, Josh gets the first turn because he's the baby. And to this day, I hold that against him because I should have done. I just remember being super disappointed because I think they shut it off. Well, I was angry as hell, dude. I was raging. I think, no, it's fine. So that's what my first interaction with the game was. And you know what? I know this game like the back of my hand. You've seen the way I play it.
Dude, you blew through the entire game earlier today when you were streaming it on Twitch. Go check him out, by the way. Usually streaming what, 11 a.m.?
11 a.m. every day. So come over and check out some retro gaming. But here's the thing. The version I played today was the Game Boy Color version of the game, and it is wildly different. But we'll talk about that here in a little bit. What an interesting backstory to how it became this iconic video game that it is. So, of course, it is a sequel to the 1983 arcade game Mario Brothers, where you just take on the characters of Mario and Luigi, and you are in the sewers, and you got to fight the Koopa Troopas, which are known as shell creepers in this game, and the crabs and all that stuff. And it's a classic arcade cabinet that's a sequel in ways to Donkey Kong, where Mario makes his original appearance as the character known as Jumpman. And do you know where he got the name Mario?
Wasn't he the janitor or something?
It was the warehouse owner, the manager. His name was Mario Segali. And they in Nintendo America, whenever he would come in, he was, I guess, this rough and tough dude that had a big personality, and he looked like Mario. And so they decided to name the character Jumpman after him. So that's where Mario gets his name. And canonically, his name is Mario. That comes from the Super Mario Brothers movie, which is terrible, but they took that idea and they ran with it. So that canonically is his name.
It's Mario, and Luigi Mario.
That's correct. Isn't
That's
that
so
wild? Don't be hating now. Don't be hating.
No, I mean it's great, but it's dumb.
Yeah,
it's dumb.
So the original game was designed by Shigeru Miyamoto and Takashi Tezuka, who drew experience from the large sprites they created in the game Devil World and the side-scrolling Excite Bike for the Nintendo Entertainment Systems. Basically, in Devil World, there's a giant sprite, which is basically the devil at the top of the screen. And Shigeru Miyamoto saw that, and he's like, well, how do we implement larger sprites into a bigger play area? So they were able to take the technology they put there, plus the side-scrolling technology, like I said, from Excite Bike and the game Kung Fu, and put that into a little bit of a bigger game. This game was also co-produced at the same time as The Legend of Zelda. So as they're making one, they were making the other. They would make assets for one, they would switch them with the other game, and back and forth. So Legend of Zelda came out after Mario, but not too much longer after that.
They were pretty much brought up in parallel. Mario and Zelda were worked on at the same time, but released different times.
And can you imagine having made two of the most iconic games ever at the same time producing those? That's got to be, I mean, that's why Shigeru Miyamoto is considered the godfather of video games in a lot of ways, or modern video games. You already brought it up. The soundtrack was done by the amazing Koji Kondo, who has worked on the Mario series and the Legend of Zelda series for the last 35 years. Everything he touches is iconic. You know, you already did the dun 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 dun.
Dude, Mario has some of the most recognizable music. Even some of the later games, just oh god, it's all just so good.
Yeah, hands down, he is a maestro. Is that what they call them?
He's a genius,
composer,
musical genius.
Yes, and his music is so catchy; it's beyond earworm. It gets stuck in your head. But you got to think too. Whenever he initially started composing this music for the game, he did the underwater score first. That dun 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 dun. Then he did an overworld theme, and actually, it wasn't good enough. The initial one wasn't the dun 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 dun. It was a different theme altogether. But what he realized was he needed music that went along with Mario's running, the fast pace of the game. So as he played the game, he actually went back and recreated that theme, and that iconic theme that becomes Mario. When you think Mario, you mostly think of that song. So he put a lot of work into it. And like I said, he's been composing for Mario and Zelda games for the last 35 years. So what is the game? Players control Mario or his brother Luigi in a multiplayer mode as they travel the Mushroom Kingdom to rescue Princess Toadstool from Bowser, also known as King Koopa. They must traverse side-scrolling stages while avoiding hazards such as enemies and pits with the aid of power-ups such as the Super Mushroom, Fire Flower, and the Starman. One of the first games to introduce the idea of power-ups. You begin the game as Mario, regular-sized Mario, and as you get the mushroom, which is almost impossible to avoid whenever you hit it in that first block, whenever you get that, because it bounces off the pipe there, and you become Super Mario. Then you can level up once again to Fire Mario by getting the Fire Flower. And then if you want to really put the screws to him, you get that Starman and you just run through the dun, 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 dun,
and you
dun,
just
dun,
plow through enemies. Oh,
So
you
much
can just
fun.
run right through them.
So much fun. The pits, I mean, they get more hazardous as the game goes on. The enemies don't really change. You got your Goombas, you got your Koopas, you got your flying Koopas.
I mean, you
your
come
Flata
across
pits.
like more difficult kinds of enemies. You've got the Koopa in the cloud that'll throw the
Yeah,
spinies
what is his
down
name?
at you.
Lakuta?
Yeah, I think it's Lakoot or something like that.
Lakoots. Yeah, Lakoots.
And then the Hammer Bros. Good God, the Hammer Bros are horrible in this game.
Dude, let me tell you, when me and my band back in the day, we were recording a demo and my brother was sleeping in the house, right? And rightfully so, he was mad at me because his wife was pregnant at the time. And he came out of the bedroom and started chucking hammers at me. So we called ourselves the Hammer Bros for the next like 5 years for that reason. But yeah, the guy who was recording wasn't very happy that we were getting hammers chucked at us. Like I said, with 50 million copies sold worldwide, it is credited alongside the NES as one of the key factors in reviving the video game industry after the crash in 1983, which we talked about before. Horrocast, go check it out. And it helped popularize the side-scrolling platform game genre.
You're telling me This game sells 50 million plus copies, and they still can't tell me when the first fucking copies went for sale.
They have no idea.
That's stupid.
That's
There's some guy in Nintendo that is like, I know this is going to be a big game. Let me just lock away the Mario file. Oops.
No one needs
It's in
to
the
know.
trash. No one needs to know. It'll be a Nintendo mystery, a Nintistory.
Nintistory 2020.
That's so dumb.
You know what? But it is dumb. But what is not dumb, segue, is this game. Because this game still holds up after 35 years.
It really fucking does.
It's still fun to play. What is great is the 4 stages per world. There's 8 worlds in the game. Every stage plays differently. You know, you have the overworld, the underworld, you have the bridges, you have the underwater, and then you have the mountain areas, and then you have the castles. You know what I mean? And so as you play through, the game is always changing up how it's platforming. It's always becoming different. And, you know, when you get to the castles and you start getting the fireball, whatever they're called, you know, turning...
The little fire trap that kind of spins around and rotates.
I just called them fireballs. I don't know what the fireball fireball stick. I don't know what it'd be called.
The little spinning fireball thing.
And those just like ratchet it up to 11. That just make the game so much more impossible to play. And what's cool about the castles is they repeat. The first 4 are easier versions of the last 4. The last 4 become a more difficult versions of those first 4 stages. So like you get longer fireballs, reaching platforms, you get extra ones, you get more. The Bowser gets more power-ups as you go. Initially, he starts out with fire, which is nothing. And then he gets some obstacles in the way, such as bricks or maybe a platform. And then he gets his own hammers. So at the end, you've got fireballs. You've got fireballs flying out of the lava. And then you've got him throwing hammers. And then by the time you get to World 8, he's a pain in the ass. Not to mention the freaking Hammer Bro at the end of World 8. That guy. Yeah, dude. Like earlier, I was like, do I do the trick? What's the trick, Ethan? You know the trick, right?
The trick is after like 20 to 30 seconds, he'll walk forward and then you can just either kill him or leap over him. But yeah.
What a jerk.
If he decides not to walk forward,
you're screwed.
You can stand there and wait or you're fucked.
Yeah, especially.
You get hammered, bitch.
Yeah, you get hammered. The Hammer Bros really do become like the most difficult villains in this game, I think. Which is
they don't stop between hurling hammers. It's like 2, 3, 2, 3, 3, 3, 2, and they just keep throwing them. It's like, good God, you just had to load up at a fucking Ace Hardware store before you went to the job, didn't you? Okay. Oh yeah, 99-cent hammers. Let's go. It's stupid,
Chucking them like son of a gun.
But I mean, that late in the game, it makes sense for it to be that fucking difficult.
What do you think is the one part of the game that sticks out mostly to you?
The first 4 levels.
Yeah.
Easily the most iconic. Everyone knows World 1-1. It shows you the basics of the game. You can get the mushroom fire flower easy. I think there's also a star hidden on there somewhere.
Yeah, in the first stage.
And then second one, you get your first underground stage. Third one, you're back into the overworld type area. And then the first castle. It's not overly difficult. Shows you how to work through the game, shows you a lot of the main enemies and obstacles you'll have to deal with. And it's a great tutorial, intro, and hook into the game. And those levels have been remade more than just about any other Mario level because they show up in other Mario games all the time.
I have always said, like, if you wrote out the hieroglyphics of the first stage, people would know what Mario is. And like, if you just put that brick pattern right there, you know, the 1 brick, 5 brick, the ones above it.
Every Mario game starts with that.
Yeah, because it's so iconic and it's so freaking great. For me, what I love is the speedrunning aspect of this game. I can beat the game in less than 10 minutes. And I love being able to use the warp pipes that they put into the game. And that idea for the warp pipes actually came from Excite Bike, the arcade version, because in the arcade version, you could choose 3 different levels. You could do the beginner level, the intermediate level, and the advanced level, right? So they looked at that and they said, well, how can we put that into this game? Well, they decided to use the warp pipes as those. So they figured when more advanced players found that they could jump over at the ending of World 1-2, they could decide to go forward to where they wanted to. So I love being able to use the warp pipes and then the beanstalk to get the more warp pipes. And the idea of the beanstalk came from Jack and the Beanstalk, where initially in the game they wanted to have flying levels, but they couldn't figure out a way to build them into it. So they ended up just creating cloud levels, basically. That's why the beanstalk came into play. Being able to skip from world 1-2 to 4, go to 4-2, and then go to 8. That's how you speed run the game. And then you just got to do from 8-1 to 8-4, which can be done. It's 8-2 that always gets me. 8-2 and 8-3 are the hardest. 8-4 isn't that difficult. I think that it's a lot easier than people
If you
think
can get past that hammer bro at the end of 8-4,
Yeah,
you're golden.
And if you keep like a fire flower Mario, that's
Game over.
Game over, less than 10 minutes. I love speed running it. Same as Mario 2. It's kind of like a Xanax to me. It'll calm me down, being able to just play the game. I think it's a perfect game, even with the limitations, even with the sticky maneuvers. The way Mario controls is a lot more slick than in other games, I would say. He has a momentum thing when he jumps. The jump button is so finicky in a good way. If you hit it a certain way, he'll jump so high he won't jump like to his maximum height. Whatever you push that button down to is what he's going to jump to. So that allows for pinpoint accuracy, jumping on stuff. Like I can jump over the piranha plants perfectly. I don't even worry about it. It's pixel away from being destroyed. And every time I can get that bad boy because I get used to the momentum of the game. The running and the jumping is perfect. And like I said, it's the physics of the game that just works so wonderfully well. I'm gushing about Mario right now, dude. I absolutely love it. I know. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good, man.
Yeah, I fucking love Super Mario Brothers. So initially, Yoshi was also to be a power-up in the game. The first game, they drew out Yoshi and everything, but they couldn't figure out how to make it work. So he ended up getting saved for the fourth game. So they go an entire console generation, and then they end up coming out with Yoshi. That's what happens a lot. Like they throw everything in the kitchen sink in, and then they can't use it, so they end up using it later. Like the flying levels that they wanted to do in the overworld. If you've ever played the first Game Boy Super Mario Land, those flying levels were implemented into that.
Okay.
So,
see, I was thinking of what world was that in Super Mario Brothers 3? Like world 4 or 5? No, 4 is Giant Land. It might be 5 or 6, whichever one where you're on land at first, you go to the tower, and then you're suddenly in the
clouds. Yeah, but there's no flying stages. But you're right. They did take that idea of being on the ground level and then being in the clouds. So that is the 5th stage of the 3rd game. First port of Super Mario Brothers comes in the form of the arcade port versus Super Mario Brothers.
That one is hard, dude.
Yes, it's
fucking hard.
Yes, it is. So you played that?
Oh, I have played it. And I know we've talked about this before outside of the cast. They do something to just fucking crank Mario 1 up to 11. Gaps are a little bit wider. Enemies are a little bit closer together. It's evil.
You're 100% right. That's exactly what they did. So the existing levels were made more difficult with narrower platforms, more dangerous enemies, fewer hidden power-ups, and 200 coins needed for an extra life instead of 100. Then, about halfway through the game, they start creating new levels. So about stage 5, you no longer have your traditional Mario levels. You start getting into what eventually becomes the Lost levels, Super Mario Brothers 2. That's when they start creating those stages. So that eventually led to the creation where they saw that what they were doing, because what they were doing is they were like, people know this game. If we keep it the same, they're just going to beat it in the arcade. We don't make any quarters. But if we change it up, if we make it a little bit different, we'll be able to get their money. And I'm telling you, this was a coin hog because I played through it at the Black Dog Arcade, and it was next to impossible. I could not beat it because once I get to level 5, it's over, and it's next to impossible to play. This game is a lot of fun, but eventually this leads to the Lost levels because they saw the stages there. They saw how difficult they were, but also challenging and fun. And they're like, well, maybe we should make a whole game that's like this. So Super Mario Brothers 2 was made. And if you've ever played that game, it is hard. You know, you begin with, and you said in the first game, you begin with the tutorial that teaches you how to play it.
That's all out the window. It straight up assumes, oh, you've played the first one a million times. You've beaten it a million times. Fuck you.
Yeah. Here we go. It's a fuck you.
Fuck you!
Fuck
Here's
you.
the lost levels.
You piece of shit.
Hey everyone, it's just Duck jumping in here real quick to say thank you so much for checking out the podcast today. If you're enjoying it, head over to your favorite podcast app, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, or iTunes, and give We Are Podcast Network a like. And if you get a chance, head over to our social media. All links can be found in the description. You can find us at Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at /We Are Podcast. And with that, back to the podcast.
Yeah, it takes it to the next level because the first mushroom you get is a poisonous mushroom. And it's like the game is literally saying a fuck of you. Like this is going to be a whole new Mario you've never done before. I've beat the lost levels. We'll get to the version of it I played here in a minute, but it is hard. There are literally clone Koopas, like where you're going through the last stage, like you keep thinking you beat Bowser and you don't. Like it is crap, dude. And then there's wind mechanics and stuff like that, different piranha plants. It's just a pain in the ass. We're not here to talk about the lost levels. We're here to talk about the good one, Super Mario Brothers 1. The reason it wasn't released in America, though, was because the person who played the game, I can't think of his name right now, but he was a play tester.
We mentioned that in Mario 2.
Yes, we did.
The Mario 2 cast.
I wish I could think of his name right now, but when he played it, he was like, this is brutal. Why would you do this to people? But Super Mario Brothers Versus was only released in the arcades, never came out in specialty ROM card or anything like that until December 22nd of 2017. It was released in the Nintendo Switch. So if you want to play Versus Super Mario Brothers, you can get it on your Switch.
Very nice.
One more version, Super Mario Brothers Special. Have you ever seen this?
Never even heard of it.
Okay, so what it was Hudson Soft, the makers of games such as
Oh no.
The makers of games such as Adventure Island. Yeah, they ended up having a computer, the NSC PC 8801, and the Sharp X1 personal computer. And they ended up doing a port of the game. And it is not side-scrolling. What it does, Ethan, first of all, the color scheme is all off. It looks like you're playing as Wario instead of Mario. But it is screen by screen by screen. So you go through that first iconic screen, and when you get to like the warp pipe, it flashes over to the next screen. Kind of destroys how you play the game, kind of destroys the momentum.
They should have called it Super Mario shit.
Yeah, dude.
There ain't nothing special about that.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, if you played it, it would be hilarious if you played it for a Twitch stream or something like that, you would be cursing and swearing the whole time at it, dude. It's freaking hilarious.
I can't help but feel like that's in my future now all of a sudden.
What's really cool is Super Mario Crossover, the famous Flash game, actually has all the stages from Super Mario Brothers Special in it. So it
had different stages than the first game?
It did, yes. It had different stages, different level designs, new items, and new enemies based on Super Mario Brothers and Donkey Kong. So it has a lot of additional stuff in it. Hudson Soft did a bunch of the ports for the computer system. They did this, they did Donkey Kong. I think they did Excite Bike, but they did a bunch of licensed ports for the computer. And it's the only time Nintendo's licensed out their rights to their games, other than when they did like Mario Teaches Typing in the 90s and stuff like that. But these were actual ports that were licensed out to Hudson to make. And I mean, they did the best they could with it for the personal computers at the time. There was also a Game & Watch handheld LCD game that was released under the Nintendo Game & Watch line of LCD games. We'll get to another one of those here in a second. All Night Nippon, Super Mario Bros. Have you heard of this, Ethan? So Fuji Television had a show called All Night Nippon, which was basically like a radio show that was on TV, and it was a radio show too, right? And so they did a special edition in December 1986 in Japan where they replaced the characters, the enemies in the game, with the DJs from All Night Nippon, and they released that to the public as a kind of like a bonus feature to promote some event that they were doing at the time.
Okay.
It's an official port. The version that was released in Japan, we never got that here in America. That never came our way. But what did come our way, and you've probably seen this, is Super Mario All-Stars.
Yes, that is the primo collection of the 2D Mario games. Mario 1, Mario 2, and the Lost Levels, right?
It's got Mario 1, Mario 2, Mario 3, the Lost Levels. So four.
Oh, it has 3 in there as well?
Yeah, it has 3. So it has Mario 1, Mario 2,
That's
Mario
right.
3, the Lost Levels, and then later they re-released it, adding Super Mario World to the mix also. So Super Mario All-Stars plus Super Mario World. What a collection.
Fantastic.
What a fantastic collection. So what they did with this is they redid the graphics for 16-bit, obviously. They redid the music, but they kept all the mechanics of the games the same. So these games played just like the original Nintendo games to a point. The graphic updates and some of the transitions make the game jitter in places. I would say Super Mario 3 is the best port out of all of them on there.
Looks the best.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. I would highly suggest playing the games this way if you get a chance. And later on the Wii, they released this as a full-fledged release. It was like a $50 release that you could buy. And all it was a disc with Super Mario All-Stars on it. That is it. You plug it in, and it's just the exact same game. You get the coin at the beginning of it. That sounded weird, but and then it goes into it, and you're playing the game. So that was another release.
I remember when that came out too. That was a big deal.
You
that
weren't
was
even born when it came out.
When the Wii version came out, I fucking was.
Oh yeah, I know. Super Mario All-Stars, July 14th, 1993. God,
that's not the Wii version.
No, the Wii version,
February 7th, 2011.
Yeah, it's a collector's item. I mean, at $50. Jeez.
And yeah, does it not include?
I don't think it includes.
It doesn't include Super Mario World.
Nope.
What the hell? So they added it to Super Mario All-Stars and then got rid of it from Super Mario All-Stars?
Well, I mean, the original release was a SNES cartridge, so it wasn't on the original release, and then they added it later whenever they were doing... What they did was they sold Super Nintendos with Super Mario All-Stars plus Super Mario World and Donkey Kong Country, which were the two killer, games for the system that really showed the graphical prowess of it. Oof. So whenever we got it, we got Super Mario All-Stars and Donkey Kong in the same package. So we got
$80 right now on Amazon.
Well, actually, no, we got Super Mario All-Stars, Donkey Kong Country, and Super Mario World as 3 separate cartridges whenever we got it. How much is it now?
I found it for $80 on Amazon. The Wii version, I mean.
Yeah, damn. That's some money. Next, I'm going to talk about Super Mario Brothers Deluxe, which DX is what it was, which you said you had this.
I did at a time. I used to have it back in elementary school. I think one of my buddies gave it to me, and
yeah, that's a good friend.
Yeah, it was a real good friend. Forget who it was. But,
friends over there.
Yeah, it's not great. The screen crunch on that is absolutely horrible, and it seems like the hit detection is really fucking bad. But I remember that being significantly harder than maybe not the Versus cabinet, but it's definitely harder to play than the NES version of the game.
Yeah.
Deluxe is fun. It adds some new stuff. You have save files you can pick up from whatever world you died 5 times at because of Hammer Bros. Duck.
Me, my brother Mike.
And yeah, it had some nice quality of life improvements over the original NES game, but it's a flop. You're better off just playing the All-Stars version.
Absolutely, I agree. Because I played through it, like you said earlier, on Twitch every day, 11 a.m.
Every day at 11 a.m.
Come watch me play some games. Yeah, just throw it out there. I played through the entire original game today because it does also have the lost levels on the game. I played through the original 8 worlds of the game, and it plays so monumentally different than the original Mario. The one thing I kept noticing was it was more forgiving with pixels because I could stand on the side of the pipes, which you can do in the original Mario too, but it allowed me
You don't have near as much room in the original cart.
Right. And then it's a low, I kept saying it over and over again. This is a low to the ground game because with Mario, I'm used to jumping in wide gaps. I'm used to jumping over a bunch of stuff. But because the screen crunch, you can push up or down and you can see above you or below you. And that's what makes it very difficult. You have to get used to being low to the ground. And as you do that, you just have to play the game in a completely different way where you just don't jump as high as you used to. The other thing that this game really added was the overworld map, just like Super Mario Brothers 3 or Super Mario World, where you could kind of see the level layout or the world layout. And I thought that was always kind of cool. It also has coin challenges, red coin challenges, and a time trial where you can actually race against a ghost. So it's got a lot of cool and interesting concepts to it. But at the same time, I don't know if I would enjoy playing this, especially on the Game Boy Color that doesn't have a backlight. You used to play it, you said, on your Game Boy Color SP, is that right? Or Game Boy Advance?
Yeah, the Game Boy Advance SP. So with a backlight, it was fine.
Yeah.
But, 8-year-old me didn't really complain about that. I'd much rather now probably plug it into my Game Boy player on my GameCube and just run it on the TV. But yeah, nowadays it probably would be a lot better, especially if you had a Game Boy Advance SP or something like that. But I couldn't even imagine playing this on a classic Game Boy Color.
No, with no backlight, I think that would be next to impossible. The next release we get is for the Virtual Console for the Wii on December 2nd, 2006 in Japan, December 25th, 2006 in North America. Basically, just load it up in your system. It's the original game. It's just emulating the original Super Mario Brothers, but that's the next release we get. After that, on November 11th, 2010, only in Japan, they get a special red Wii version of the game celebrating its 25th anniversary. So there were several graphical changes, including the question blocks with the number 25 on them. So it's preloaded in there. You can play it, okay? The next version we get is Super Luigi Brothers. Have you heard of this, Ethan?
I've heard of it, but I don't exactly know what it is.
So what it is it's a redux of the game. It was featured in NES Remix number two, I should say. And what it does is, it's a mirrored version of the game. It changes the graphics to have Luigi as the primary character, and the game runs backwards. So instead of going from left to right, it runs from right to left. And boy, is it difficult. I am going to Twitch stream that. It changes the game completely. Freaking cool as heck, man. The first time I saw it, I was like, this is fun. I really enjoy this, and I really did. And
the only thing I can kind of compare that to is when you go through Super Mario Galaxy, I think did something kind of similar, where if you collected all the stars, you could go back through the game again as Luigi, and it was Super Luigi Galaxy.
Oh yeah, yeah. They do that on the Super Mario Land games too, where Luigi's always like the hidden character in these games.
I love Luigi.
Luigi's cool.
My man.
Luigi's
my
cool.
man.
I prefer Mario. Mario.
I prefer Luigi Mario. Fuck you.
Oh, nicely done. Mario 35th anniversary. We just got into this. It just completed itself. 2 things were released that celebrated the original Mario game. The first is this, which I'm holding up right now. Ethan can see it. It's the Mario Game & Watch. This bad boy costs, I think, $50. I got it for. And all it is it's Mario 1, the Lost Levels, and a small Game & Watch game called Ball, I think is what it's called, where you just juggle balls, which sounds hilarious. And it is a backlit LCD game. This thing is a blast to play. And so as I was playing this and just kind of my conversations with people, phone calls, things like that, because I'm ADHD, so I got to always be doing something else with my hands. The other thing they released was Super Mario Brothers 35. It is a 35-player battle royale version of the game released in 2020 that was available to play for a limited time for the Nintendo Switch Online subscribers. This game was awesome, dude. Did you get a chance to play it, Ethan?
Yeah, you let me play it, actually. Yeah, it's fun. You can sabotage other players by sending harder levels to them, and you're essentially it's fucking Mario Battle Royale.
Yeah.
How they pulled it off and why they got rid of it, both are completely mysteries to me. But
if you want to play it, a server was just put online, a private server, so the game is still playable. It requires a little bit of hacking on the Switch, but it can still be played if you want to. Yeah, I like what you said. Like, one of the main things is you can send the harder levels, the later levels of the game into the queue. So basically, when the game starts up, you get to pick a stage. It adds those stages into the queue. Mostly levels 1, 1, and 1, 2 are put into the queue because as you beat those stages, they become available to you. So if you just begin the game, only 1, 1's available to you. After you beat that first stage, there's a line of stages that are set up. It's almost like a roulette. Most of the time, you'll go to stage 1, 2 again. After that, you can actually pick stages at the end where you would usually warp. You can actually pick 3 of the stages that are in the roulette at that point. So then let's say it'd be 1, 1, 1, 2, and then 7, 2. Well, if you get 7, 2, you definitely want to go to 7, 2. So you beat 7, 2, that becomes a pickable stage for you at that point. 7, 2 is more difficult. You want to throw that in the roulette. It's all random is how it picks it, right? And so as you beat the stages, they become available to you. Now, when you go in, you have different ways that you can sabotage the other players, and you pick those with your directional pad. For me, I always go after people who have a smaller amount of time or a smaller amount of coins. That makes it a lot easier. But also, you can just go after the people who are battling the most, the people who are the fighters, basically, who are sending stuff to other people. It becomes very challenging on how you do this because the time limit becomes a major factor in how you play this. And oh my God, dude, I became addicted. The one biggest difference, though, is the jump mechanic. They changed it.
How'd they change that?
In the original game, when you jump on a bad guy, such as a Goomba or a Koopa Troopa, you don't get momentum. You just jump off of them and you bounce to the ground, right? In this game, if you hold the jump button after you jump onto them, you can actually jump higher and gain momentum. And it allows you to do so much more stuff because that means that areas that you couldn't normally reach from jumping on an enemy, you can use them to propel you up. In later Mario games, that propel becomes a big thing, especially in Super Mario World, Super Mario Bros. 3. But in the initial game, it was not there. So it changes the game tremendously when it comes to Super Mario Brothers. It just changes it completely. And the only reason I noticed it, because I was used to that mechanic being in later Mario games, is because I was playing the Game and Watch version of it. And I was like, oh, that's different. That's weird. Huh. So, yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
How many wins do you know off the top of your head do you have on Mario 35?
A billion. No, I don't know. I have no idea. A lot.
Surely you won a few, though.
Oh, yeah, I got first place a lot. One of the cool things you were talking about, the Luigi mechanic, is after you hit level 100, if you hold left, I think it is, and L on the controller, you can actually play as Luigi in the game. So Luigi was hidden. People ended up finding him on accident. I thought that was pretty cool. Don't quote me on that's the way to do it. Go look it up. But it doesn't matter. You can't play it anymore. The only thing that's left to really say about Super Mario Brothers is the Minus World, which you've heard of before. Is that right, Ethan?
Yeah, Minus World was a glitch where you'd get stuck in this infinite loop no matter. It was one of the water levels, wasn't it?
Yep, you're right. That's exactly it. So World 1, 2 contains a hidden warp zone with warp pipes that transports the players to Worlds 2, 3, and 4. But that's only in the Japanese version, I believe. In the American version, you were just taken to World 2-2 or 7-2 or worlds like those two. And then it's just an infinite loop, like you said. It just doesn't end. So there's a certain way to get into it. How do you access
the Minus World?
You have to break a brick above the pipe in World 1, 2, and then you have to duck down and glitch through the wall. And as you slide over to where the pipe would go to warp 4, level 4, you have to duck into it, and it'll go to world -1 or world -1 or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I've never been able to pull this trick off. I've always wanted to, but it's just too hard. There's one more trick that was always super cool. My dad could do it. I don't know how the heck he figured it out. But in World 3-1, you can actually, whenever it's the stairs leading up to the flag, you can jump on the second Koopa up and you can get 1,000,000 lives in the game. And you I don't know if it's 1,000,000
you
lives.
Get the Koopa stuck and you would just keep bouncing on the shell, getting the
1-ups. Yeah. And my dad could do it. I lied. I can do it now. I've done it on this and I actually have video proof of that. So go fuck yourself if anyone judges me. But yeah, it's really cool. Once you get to a certain amount of lives, it just becomes a crown that you get, and then it gets lives. And if you keep going further, it just becomes a glitched brick that slowly eats away. It looks like a piece of molded cheese almost, and it'll kind of chip away at that as you go. It's just a glitch. And so that's pretty cool. Ethan, I feel like we covered a bunch of stuff about Super Mario Brothers, but it's the legacy of the game for me that matters. You know what I mean? It created.
It's more than a legacy. That's like a good third of the gaming industry. That is the face of Nintendo.
100%. Yeah. And without this game, you don't get the dynasty that is Nintendo.
You don't get the foundations that platform gaming is built upon now. You don't get a lot of the mechanics and innovation and music. And it's one of the most impactful franchises in gaming, I'd say, if not the most.
And everyone has played it. Everyone has played Super Mario Brothers. Everyone. There isn't a single, even babies and infants have played this game. Everyone has played this game.
They come out and they're just like, oh, Mario.
That's their first words is Mario. That's what they do when they slide out. Woo-hoo! I absolutely love it, dude. Like I said, this game is it's like medicine to me. Even playing it earlier, playing the DX version of it was frustrating, but it was still fun. And there were moments where I would jump off of stuff and I'd be like, Ethan, did you see that? It was really cool. Just
there was a couple of those jumps where you what is it? The little platforms with the rope where you stand on one and it starts falling down. The other one starts going up. There was one of those jumps you made that you should not have been able to catch that platform, but you did. Oh, that was cool. It's a fun game to watch too. That's the thing. Is even if you're stuck playing 2-player couch co-op, this is, you're not bored between switching controllers back and forth. You're along for the ride just as much as the person that's playing it right now.
And I would say it's the second ultimate 2-player game because Sonic 2 is the ultimate little brother, little sister game where you can hand them the second controller and they can be Tails. This is probably the second Ultimate game where you can give your little brother or little sister the second controller, let them be Luigi, let them die, let them get killed by the first Goomba or the first.
And then back to my turn.
And then it's back to exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. It's the ultimate, like next to Sonic 2. I will not. Sonic 2 wins, hands down.
Sonic 2 takes the cake.
100%. But Mario does a very good job before Sonic 2 came out of being the ultimate little brother, little sister game. I don't know what else can we say about the game. I'm gushing. I've been gushing for the last 40 minutes. I freaking love it, dude. And poor Ethan had to listen to it. I'm so sorry.
Oh, dude. I mean, come on. We did Persona Cast last time, so I think I'm still paying off that debt.
No, dude, that was aces. Go listen to it. Yes, if you get a chance to play Super Mario Brothers, go play it. Go play it today. Have fun.
Go through and see if you can best the lost levels, unlike many who have tried before you. Because I'm not gonna lie, I kind of got an itch to play the lost levels, even though I've never beaten it.
I feel a Twitch stream coming on.
It smells like a Twitch stream in here.
Smells like a Twitch stream in here. It smells. What were you doing? It smells like a Twitch stream.
I was Twitch streaming, I swear.
You have to do it, dude. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening to Mario Cast. This has been Duck. I have been here with
Reverend D.
And don't forget this. It's very important. You got to understand something.
What is this?
You know, we got to tell
what?
People.
Tell them what, Duck?
Guys, you ain't Billy Mitchell, bitch.
Oh,
So stop trying.
just stop.
Just stop. All right, we'll see you in the next one.
And there it is. Thank you again so much for checking out the podcast today. If you enjoyed it, head over to your favorite podcast app, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, and iTunes, and give We Are Podcast Network a like. And if you've enjoyed this podcast, you're going to love the other podcasts here on the We Are Podcast Network. We have We Are Air, where we talk movies, entertainment, whatever the fuck we want to talk about. That's me, that's Jake, and that's Hobby. We're breaking down that pop culture, and we're having so much fun. Heroes, Gyros, a Dungeons and Distractions side quest. Me and the boys were playing some D&D. You can start that one from Season 1, Episode 1. It's a blast the whole way through. And I Hate Being Sober. Personal stories from epic people. I sit down with some of my favorite people of all time. We talk about their trials, their tribulations, and their journey this far. And finally, our new live video podcast, Camp Slash Horrorcast, where we're going to have a roundtable discussion about our favorite horror movies. That'll be available on Twitch and YouTube, streaming every Monday at 8 p.m. Check the links in the description to find out what movies we'll be watching. Also, check the links in the description for our social media. You can find us at Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at /We Are Podcast Network. With that said, thank you so much for checking out the podcast today. Please remember to support local comedy in any way that you can. We'll see you next time.